ask WAG about that. We can even ask EVOS about that. They really, are quite experienced. Stage of the Southeast Asian leg, they didn't really fare all that too well.
Speaking of not faring too well, we might be seeing a little bit of action on confinement over there, AJ. We've got NVL and Heavy actually fighting over that singular compound. So we could be seeing some names hit the dust, some players being sent back to the aircraft. But we are seeing here RRQ camped out at their favorite spot. Knows and loves, and we'll have to see if anyone decides to compete for that spot later on, as Kabi is the first one to be down there.
Yeah, and Hope versus the whole squad of Movistar until Liku shows up. Games King, sliver of health left on him. P90, Liku has the advantage here, goes in for the spray, gets the fantastic knock. I have to say, Redcliffe has been very impressive, albeit they did not manage to get very far in that first game. But their engagements look a little sharper than Redhawks, which is quite a big surprise to me.
I mean, if they keep fighting like this, I think it will absolutely pay off for the team. Yeah, so Redcliffe, they pick up 2 eliminations. We've just started the round. Could be a good sign for the team if they can also just stabilize. And I think something that could maybe hold Redcliffe's back is you kind of fight into everybody, but if you're too reckless, then you might just be throwing your entire team away and ending your run for the round. So at least they've got their 2 elims, and we'll see what Redcliffe's decide to do here, if they maybe want to try and compete for Refinery or if they want to play along the outer edge. Now, speaking of other teams, we do have EVOS here looking to shoot out hot shots. Almost went for action, but no, a little bit too late on the trigger there. So we do have another shot there. Oh, Rastia doing Rastia things.
Well, Coach Hill is right in front of Dowley. Taking a couple of pops shouldn't be too difficult here. And this is Clear Vision Esports about to get annihilated. 2 games back-to-back super early. Not a good sign at all. And it looks like they can't get away. Rastia has got a pretty deadlock on them with the VSK. They do manage to hop on away. Probane does get tagged from afar. Younes is holding back just to see if or not he can buy a little bit of time for the rest of his team members. And he sacrifices himself for the greater good. Question is, what can the rest of the Clear Vision Esports players do with the extra time their buddy has given them? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Fluxos decided to end their run, so Clear Vision, they thought they were free. But, sometimes you just launch yourself in the wrong direction and you basically feed yourselves into the mouths of another potential predator in that lobby. So first team gone, 11 teams remaining, but already a great start here for EVOS. And actually, there are still some other teams that are doing rather well in the lobby, but I think EVOS, I think a lot of teams are expecting EVOS to do well, and the numbers, they're kind of proving them all right. EVOS are currently the kings of Kalahari for this round.
And Clear Vision again with the early exit. Unfortunate for them. They only picked up 1 point on Bermuda. And barely anything in this matchup, so we'll have to wait and see what they can do with the rest of those 4 opportunities. Hacks with the stop, but Liku with the revive before he gets shut down. So quick fingers right there for the Redcliffe players. And this just happened to be the same issue that the Red Hawk squad was facing as well. Great start with the initial engagement, and then they fizzle out fairly quickly after that. I just think Bangladesh needs more time on the global stage just to get used to the very, very different pace that we have from some of these other regions here.
Yeah, very, very fast paced, unfortunately. Teams just constantly moving. As we've got Kuslo on the screen, just gonna loot up a little bit and then regroup with the team. Oh, but Floki has been caught in the backside thanks to Games King, who's able to get a very sneaky elimination. A bit of a very sneaky elim. Oh, Sebas has been caught as well, down to 30 health, is able to try and recover, but you can see Movie Stars in the background looking to finish him off if they can catch his head. Just the top of his head is all that they need, but he's able to juke them out so far. So Sebas, but he gets caught anyway, thanks to Della.
Well, let's see if or not Nova Legion can find the recovery, because once again, they've had a very hot start, but Heavy up against EVOS. A great one, as they don't manage to bump into That little Oscar, valiant dash for nothing. But don't cry, the timing is bad here. Ray spots him, Charge Buster takes him down. And that leads them straight into E1 spots. I don't know if it was intentional, but they've been baited in. EWOS needs to get the heck out of here.
Either get the heck out or just go the heck in, because you can see Ray jumping into the fray as well, and they've managed to get it down there onto Vittini. So EVOS, I think they're comfortable trying to fight into this, but they have to find a clear point of entry into the team, because E1 is going to keep themselves within that compound for now, and so far it is keeping them rather well protected. And you can see right now Rasia trying to see, okay, can I get into position to maybe punish someone instead? Catching vision of another player on his side. So I think Rasia just wanting to make sure he's covered on all angles to make sure that he's not picked off while he's trying to go for these snipes.
He was 10 eliminations on the Bermuda map, and they are already at 6 on the 6th minute here. And Redcliffe, just like Red Hawks, hot start and a quick fizzle out. I think they need to replace some of their vendors for their little flame here. Because, you know, sometimes when you buy the wick and the wick is bad, your oil... Because, you know, some rhythm sent out from the side of Heavy up against Fluxo. It's got them flanked out already, which is in trying to fish one out. And Alan can not move anywhere at all. But the setup from Heavy is such where if they do try to take Alan out, the rest of them can back him up. Alan, one more tag, and Bobs gets it done with the Winchester.
Bops them out of the air. So Heavy not feeling too happy themselves either, because now they know they're at risk of potentially being rushed upon by another team. And, you know, Bobs, he's going to be the one to set the tone for the rest of the team. But actually, Butzen is there as well. So Fluxo wanting to leave a mark on the map, grab some eliminations. If they get rid of Heavy as well, this will secure their position at command post. And look how quickly they are trying to get on top of this team. Heavy is now panicking. They're hiding in that building. Butzen's playing on the rooftop. The rest of the team has made it through. All it takes is for one head to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Some trick shots here from the jump out of the window. But on the other end, Movistar R7 moving down the players on the side of EWOS. 6 eliminations already as they break down these blue walls, ripping away lives. He was trying to find some way to survive this encounter. And Heavy, on the other hand, I thought they were successful running away from the players of Fluxo, but all 3 fall. One final survivor. Can they find some sort of a miracle here? We missed that whole bout, and Cubby got away with a sliver of his health still left on himself. Yeah, but this is such a big task on one player alone, so... It would be a miracle for Heavy to be able to mount any reasonable comeback in this matchup. I mean, he's got a vehicle for now, so he'll try and hunt around and see if he can bring his teammates back. Rasia, though, about to be jumped on by the entire roster of Movistar's R7, and they've caught him. And that is it. EVOS is out of the lobby. It's unfortunate this time they just got hunted down. Did manage to play that Bermuda map fairly well, and luck just wasn't on their side this time, as they got hunted down by one of the best. Movistar R7. They were upset with their placement points early on after having such a heated battle. 12 eliminations on Bermuda. And Barros China both down. And Cypher looking for some way out of this. There is a vending machine in the compound. Getting to it is going to be the problem. And Tikui gets there first, just to make sure he brings PLS1 back, and at the very same time, make sure Cypher does not get the revival. Cypher reaches M590, PLS1 taken down, one more shot needed, and Tikui with a sliver of health does manage to sneak on away. No vending machine placed just yet from Cypher. Both players on that medkit. Renee's not gonna meet him just yet. Up top, and Tikui down. Beautiful play from Cypher. I love how aggressive Cypher is. Like, he knows what strings to pull. He knows his absolute limits. Oh, absolutely crazy. We've got Do here with Cyrus where he does manage to finish him off there. So that's going to be another point going into the pocket of AG Global. And actually, glad that we've got AG Global on the screen here because this team, unfortunately, for round number 1, completely bombed out. So if they want to keep their mark on that leaderboard, they're going to have to try and have a reasonably good round number 2. Because if they bomb out here, this is going to do some pretty serious damage to their overall ranking points.
And WAG, even today, they don't seem to be finding a lot of luck out there on the battlefield. They were one of the teams that was struggling yesterday. And the story seems to continue in here, unless, of course, Xborg can pull off some sort of a miracle. Vending Machine's just ahead of him with the whole squad of AG Global circling around. Somebody needs to use the binoculars or somehow spot out Xborg because just that free point just sitting there, and it looks like AG Global will say bye-bye to WAG, and the team will get to survive at least another couple of circles.
Yeah, Chino not being too thorough with his final scout. So we're moving on as we are still in the running here for round number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen, on Kalahari. We still have 9 teams in the running, so we have already lost a few teams in the earlier stages of Kalahari. But at the moment, I think we have a pretty established team currently leading the charge, especially with the number of eliminations that have been going on in this round. We've been seeing a lot of fighting happening, and we could potentially see another one here with 2 major teams. Fluxo about to encroach onto RRQ territory, and the thing is, RRQ, they are gatekeeping that circle. So Fluxo, they're going to have to take that compound by force, and if they do try to fight for that particular compound, it's going to get very bloody.
Hotshot needs to stay safe as long as possible. Heavy on the right, AG on the left. E1 Sports in shooting distance as well. Glue UAV sent out just to barricade that doorway. Make sure it blocks out a couple of extra shots. But Cypher cooking up the nade already. Just needs a perfect toss in, and Hotshots might just lose a couple of players and open them up for a quick rush. AG Global looking for some massive elimination points early on.
Oh, it's a very scary moment. Hotshots, AG, oh, even E1 shooting at Hotshots as well. So poor Hotshots really just on the receiving end of all of these bullets and damage and grenades. They're actually abandoning their compound as well. I think after seeing Heavy just leave theirs, and actually they're going to try and go for a fight to fight into Heavy, but instead they lose their own players. Big mistake there for Hotshots. To be fair, I think they had to make that risky play happen. But on the other side, though, WAG have been eliminated in 9th place. Yeah, just a really rough game here for Hotshots. They're trying to find some kind of freedom, some kind of room to move with, but they're really just stuck in between all of these major teams.
Della? Oh, Della actually survived that with a sliver of health left on him. Brilliant pickup from the side of Movistar R7. Games King saving Della. And now full squad again. This is going to gear up Movistar R7 for a potential Booyah here, but 8 more squads left. Circle goes towards Movistar R7. This cannot get better.
No, it cannot. This game is basically telling Movistars this is going to be your game. But can Movistars R7 basically finish this match safely? Because they're still having to deal with 6 other teams in this lobby, and we've got Heavy moving on to the high ground here. Hotshots are out, so we're now down to our top 6 teams, and now it looks like Fluxo finally going to try and take this compound away from RRQ, and you can see RRQ gripped up on that 2nd level. They're hoping Fluxo come in from that low ground. This could be a mistake. All it takes is one grenade for the right shot, but they don't get it. They get jumped on, and the entire team hits the floor. Fluxo delete RRQ, and both of our Indonesian giants have been eliminated from the lobby.
Yeah, that was a swift movement coming through from the players of Fluxo. I'm very sure a couple of grenades were tossed on in there as well. Area of damage caught multiple players on the side of RRQ, and then the firing squad with those M590s just dropping by to say hello. The VSK as well hitting in hard. Unfortunate for RRQ. They just don't get to contest for the Booyah this time round. E1 Sports, though, on the opposite end, looking straight at Fluxo, finding Jiu. Joker looking for that finisher, but the rest of them barricading themselves behind a glue wall. And the attack from E1 Sports and Movistar R7 puts Fluxo in a terrible spot.
Yeah, Movistar, they are in the perfect position with E1 and Fluxo having to fight over the compound, even Heavy hiding in the corner as well. And Movistars, they're not going to be patient. They're saying, okay, we're going to fight into this because we are in such an advantageous position and we'd like to take your compound. Kabi, though, going to be using that vehicle to drive out and be a second source of cover. The Movistars, are they really thinking of fighting into this? Because the next circle has been decided. It's going to be going towards that bottom left section of the map. So Movistars, they will have to decide if they want to move with the circle or maybe get ahead of the curve and get around Fluxo first. It's kind of an awkward position now. This is no longer an instant win for Movistars. Their next move here could be where their lives end if they make that wrong decision.
Let's see what the movement is going to be here like. And Movistar R7 taking over as the elimination leaders. They definitely want the Booyah here for themselves. They got the previous circle advantage, and now it still fairly is on their side because the concentration of squads is on the opposite end. And Bitten taking out the fire player from the side of Heavy. Mufasa down. And it's going to be Fluxo up against E1 Sports. It's all about the West here on Kalahari.
It is so far. E1, they still have one player on the rooftop, and actually Bitten's going to abandon ship, and instead they're going to play with this small fence line here for E1. So trying to keep themselves away from the competition. So we now have some distance between all three of our top three teams, AJ. Now the question is who gets that first big shot? It can come down to a grenade to maybe flush a team out, or it's going to have to come down to that final circle as we start running out of space. Teams having to run on in, and it could be an eco game. Who has the glue walls?
And who's got the smarts to get this victory? Deep freeze tossed on out here, and it's going to barely tickle the players on the side of E1 Sports.
Everyone's so
hesitant.
On the
other hand, just biding their time. They've got a perfect defensive spot here that does not require them to use up their glue walls. Movistar R7 is splitting off into a 2-2 buddy system, and they might just be the ones with the luck here, and Fluxo flies straight into E1 Sports, but on the drop with the Winchester and the M79 annihilates E1 Sports, and Movistar R7 moves on in as well, taking advantage. The third party, only one more to shut down, but they turn on them. E1 Sports holding their ground, but Joker and Della finishes it. And Movistar R7 secures their Booyah.
Their patience pays off. They let Fluxo decide the course of the match. Whoever they flew into, that was going to set the tone. And luckily for Movistars, Fluxo, they went to E1. That was all that it took. And if I'm not mistaken, when Fluxo jumped into E1, I think that was almost one or two players instantly downed. Huge crippling move onto E1, and that just opened the floodgates for Movistars to come in and clean things up. So patience was really the play here for Movistars R7.
Yeah, totally nervous when you saw two players on the side of Movistar R7 go down, and it was E1 taking the shots up against them. I was thinking, what in the world is happening? Because Fluxo just hopped on into you, blew your squad up with all of those grenades out of the grenade launcher. You should have been annihilated by now. But that is the strength of E1 Sports, holding their ground, out-surviving Fluxo, and the timing of the backstab from Movistar R7, initially splitting off into two sides and then moving in at the very same time after Fluxo had started off that engagement, was just chef's kiss, guaranteeing them that Booyah, but obviously they needed to win out those gunfights as well. Let's take a look at the final engagement, the final shot that granted Movistar R7. See Leon with the double, taking down Hex as well as Games King. But thankfully, Della was there to sort him out. And E1 out, Movistar R7 up. And this, by the way, is their very first Booyah.
Their very first Booyah, and it could be the gateway to more Booyahs for this team, because Movistar, I have to say, we've just seen 2 games today from this team and they look brilliant. They really look on point today. They have been hunting down EVOS, and I have to say, I kind of wonder when EVOS has a moment to sit down, and potentially with the coach as well, if they do have a chance to look at VODs, I think they now have to consider Movistars as a huge team to deal with, because they hunted them down in game number 1 and they hunted them down in game number 2. So EVOS starting to realize this is a dangerous team, but also Movistars are making a name for themselves with the other teams in the lobby as well. So are they an underdog? I don't think so. They definitely play like a top dog at the moment. And if things just keep going the way that they are, if they're not given the respect that they deserve, I feel like they're just going to steamroll the rest of the matches today.
Yeah, I mean, I do expect them to attempt that for sure. I have to say, though, a little upset that Nova Legion did not get to continue the phenomenal streak, because Bermuda was a great play where we saw them kind of come out of the gates bursting, showing what they're capable of picking up here on the battlefield. Unfortunately, in Kalahari, that didn't really last all that too long. A little bit too much of aggression taken out of the equation. Let's take a look at the game standings and see how they fared, because Nova Legion, although they did get taken out so early on, that aggression of 9 eliminations that they picked up still does put them in a decent spot with a total of 12 points. But focusing on the Booyah squad, Movistar R7, 26 points in total. E1 Sports with 19 out of 10 eliminations and 9 placement points. Fluxo kind of gave their spot away to All Gamers Global here because of those eliminations that was kind of on the low. Although AG got taken out first, they still overtake them on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I have to say though, AJ, really glad that this is not such a top-heavy leaderboard today. I think it just goes to show how competitive this lobby is. That everyone competing today is very capable of grabbing a Booyah, of being able to take down each and every team competing. But our overall standings is going to tell a better story of what is currently happening for today. And Movistars are currently leading with 43 points. And it's a significant lead too, because E1, next team down, 36 points. And Nova Legion, hello, 34 points, 3rd place.
Yeah. This is fantastic. This is phenomenal. This is what we need to see. And at this point, I am just going to bring the conversation back. It is once again the East versus the West. And this time, as far as the leaderboard is concerned for the day, it looks like the West is absolutely whooping. But we need to see the East wake up a little bit. Yes, RRQ got that Booyah in that first game, but we just didn't see that string up a lot. The curse of the Booyah has come out once again. And of course, speaking of once again, we see the combo here, the Team Booster and Tactical Market still the popular ones as far as the active skill combination here for Movistar R7. They've got the Tatsuya Skylar Chrono Coda going their way. Lots of information. You get to protect yourself on those landing as well with the time turners. And in a sticky situation, obviously Della with Ativa gets to pick up the rest of his team members once they get dropped down. And it was the perfect fit for them, because I think this is a very balanced loadout of active passive skills here for the squad.
Yeah, I think we also need to point out 2 team boosters, 2 tactical markets. This seems, just based off of these 2 games, this seems to be the loadout that everybody is currently comfortable with, by just having a good mix of utility as well as being able to support your team. So again, I would love to see a hammer. I really, really want to see one, but someone's going to have the confidence to be able to bring it out. And also knowing that, can you grab that Booyah as well, so we can see the stats. But moving on though, speaking of stats, Movistar's R7, very, very aggressive team. And across the board, you can see very, very even in terms of eliminations. We have 4-5-4-5. This whole team is bloodthirsty. And I love seeing stats like this, because it shows that if anything happens to players on Movistars, they're not relying on a single sniper to pick up all of their eliminations. It means across the board, the team is able to equally contribute to all of their eliminations.
Yeah. And this is what you need out of a squad. Everybody is chipping in to the performance of the squad. Nobody's getting ultra carried on the global stage, and that means you just have a good run for your squad. And I think consistency from yesterday into today is really solid, especially for Games King, the star player of Movistar R7. 4 eliminations, 2,514 on the damage. Walking in here with the Tatsuya, the Rebel Rush, has got the combination of the Shani, Joseph, Ford for his passive skills as well. Now, we know although Ford just got that little bit of a nerf recently, that still has not deterred these players from picking him. And having Shani just give him that gear recycle, having that extra layer of defense helps him out on the front line, that M590. And to top it up, you've got the team booster as well. I think he's got that perfect gear. No wonder a lot of these players want to bring in the team booster. I don't think you're going to see that hammer, Danny.
No. I mean, just based off of the games that we've seen, yeah, I think it's very, very unlikely that we see the hammer. But I will be very positive. I do want to see at least one. So if we see one throughout the entirety of the World Series, I think I'm going to be glad.
Satisfied. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah. So walk us through the weapon progression here, AJ, on for Kalahari, at least for Movistar's R7. So thoughts so far?
They were very lucky at the very drop itself, because the very first compound, they pick up really good guns that they could carry all the way into that final circle. You're talking about the M590, the Winchester, that both of them are very much in the meta right now. The VSK94 as well in the meta for those long-range connections. And you see that they don't really change out of these guns until they pick up the AC80 a little bit later on. And Games King replaced that VSK94 with the SVD. This was a blessed game for Movistar R7. This kind of explains exactly why they were able to go all out aggressive from the very first circle down to the final one, because that's the god of RNG kind of playing its tricks on you. This time, Movistar R7 just got the better end of the stick.
Yeah, I mean, would you also consider the fact that this team, they didn't need to revive anybody, that they also got lucky, you know, in terms of progression? Like, they didn't need to constantly switch guns compared to a team that, let's say, for example, EVOS, just getting picked off. You don't even get a chance to have a main gun, because I think Movistars, they were a full roster from start to finish, if I'm not mistaken. Like they just had a really great run for this second game.
I'm not sure if I saw any revives on their side, but yeah, when you've got the right loadout at the very start in itself, you are obviously the better squad when it comes to those engagements. You've got those prime in-meta weapons, and obviously Movistar is not really a chump squad, right? They are great at those aims, and they annihilate teams. And even the strategy aspect of Movistar R7 is very tight. You saw there was a lot of patience before moving in as the third party in that final bout of action, and that in itself proves why they don't drop so many players, why they're not constantly reviving out there. And I hope I'm not cursing them as I say this, but you know, that was a really tight game overall from Movistar R7, and the performance from yesterday continues into today, and that is a fantastic sign for this squad. This is what we need to see out of them a little bit more. They're definitely making Mexico very, very proud.
So next, I think we have to start talking about the next map, AJ. Solara. So this is a map that a lot of teams have struggled with. Movistar's R7, do we have statistics on their Solara performance?
Yeah, I mean, Movistar R7, they didn't fare well at all yesterday. Just one placement point, but as usual, very aggressive eliminations. They got 8 eliminations before they got eliminated early. So this is the good and the bad about Movistar R7. They are very capable, but they don't think twice about going out there and finding those engagements, which I think is a very positive aspect of a squad on the global finals, because you can afford to make some mistakes as long as you're sharpening your skills of engagement up against the other regions. So, but as far as the stats game go on and the leaderboard, they didn't fare well because of that very peppy, hyper-aggressive side of themselves. But are they good? They're damn good.
Yeah. They're pretty dang good, especially after the 2 games that we have seen for this team. So fans for Movistar's R7 going to be rejoicing, as they did pick up the Booyah for game number 2. And yes, they did not grab the Booyah for game number 1, but they looked pretty dang good for that first matchup. So coming into game number 3, this could be another potential map for this team to grab their second Booyah for today. Otherwise, this is going to be a team that you kind of want to dodge if you're a little bit of a slower team to ramp up. And I think in that case, cough, cough, RRQ, much slower team in terms of ramp. They do tend to come online towards that mid to end game. And if you're a team like that, yeah, you kind of want to avoid movie style Alpha 7 like the plague. So coming into Solara, do you think we're going to be in for a very rocky map, as in teams just decide to go hunting? Because I think even until now, teams are still not 100% confident on their performance for Solara. It's very hit or miss because I think they haven't quite figured out their most comfortable play style yet. And also the slide rails, I think, still are a bit of an X factor. Some teams still quite haven't mastered that yet. Do you think we could be in for another really, really quick game where teams just decide they're going to go hunting left, right, and center and play towards that central area of the circle again?
Quick game, no. Hunting, high probability, because you've got those slide rails on Solara. It makes it very convenient to reposition from one compound into another. Those rotations are going to be fairly easy as long as you've got it planned out in advance. And since this is the global stage, I'm very sure every single squad has already planned out their drop spot as well as rotations. They know exactly where those slide rails are. And obviously, if they go in there, they execute it perfectly, it's going to be great. But we also have to look at other factors. The other factor is obviously, number one, RNG. And also with the coincidence of, does anybody else just decide to hot drop you and make things a little bit more complicated at the start? Just like what Redcliffe has been facing so far. But of course, as I say that, it's going to be game number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages. This time it is Solara, the latest addition into our map rotation. And it is a map that not many teams have found full mastery on just yet.
But maybe today's the day where we find out the team that has conquered Solara, the newest addition to Free Fire's competitive map pool. Teams are flying in. I want to see if we see any hot drops, because I have to say today, I think both games, our first 2 games, they both had hot drops. So teams are looking for blood, but do they dare look for blood on probably the most difficult map to play on? And at the moment, it's looking like a negatory, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look for some hot drops here, it may be just slightly difficult to find, but close proximity drops are going to be a little bit of an issue here, especially if you look at the position held by E1 Sports. Up against AG Global, it's going to be a little complicated. Hot shots up against RRQ as well. A 2v2 has ensued. Great time turner from Ekal. Doesn't have the weapon on him. A quick in and out. Abe tries to just whack everyone with the bat. Leo gets Ekal. Abe shuts down Leo. A 1-for-1. And the melee still not working out in his actions. He actually drops by into the time turner, gets the pickup as well. Pulls out a glue wall, gets the execution. Hot shots just dropped the ball big time there with that opportunity.
Drop the wall because they're going up against a player that had no gun to begin with. Who needs a gun when you can bonk them on the head? Oh man, what a start there for RQ. Hot shots getting hot shots for the first couple of seconds for Solara. Yeah, we're probably seeing a big one here. Oh, gonna be cut down thanks to Anas. So small victory there for Hot Shots. They don't quite get the elim yet. Ma'al is still there. Hang on a minute though, we've got another team coming through, and they've actually gotten rid of Dutz. And Ma'al, he is finally out thanks to Anas.
Yeah, GG. This is the squad from MEA, Clear Vision Esports, spotting out the engagement, dropping by to say hello, and RRQ says, slide rail out of here, baby. We do not want to deal with you guys right now. 2 players down. They need to recover off screen. Nova Legion shutting down players on the side of Redcliffe as well. WAG up against E1 Sports on the other hand. X4 with a first connection, but Leon just turns around 180, finds the connection. Tikui with the backstab will save his buddies. But Leon just had a great 1v2 there, and he walked out of it initially on top. But a 3v1 may be just a little bit too much to deal with.
Yeah, that was actually a very expensive elimination because I believe they lost X4, so that was a forced team buyback as well. So some of these eliminations, they're getting quite costly, and we could be seeing another costly one here, AJ, because we have AG and WAG within very close proximity of one another. Tikoi trying to get away. He does get shot at, but he will successfully be able to get away, but at the cost of Cyrus, who will be removed from the map pool. And action from Hotshot's going to be caught there, thanks to Probe scouting out for the team. So Hotshots not off to a great start themselves either, thanks to clear vision. And back to AG Global. I have to say, AJ, that today has not been AG Global's day. Very, very horrible game number 1. Game 2 was also another AF round. I feel like if they don't stabilize game 3 onwards, I feel like they're just going to drop down so far on that leaderboard after such a great start.
No doubt at all. And Vitin is good at E1 Sports, left behind. And he is not going to be surprised to turn things around, has the Bison, but they flank around. Squad of RRQ, this is not looking good.
Lot of work that needs to be done for Hotshots to be brought back. That was a nice elim for RRQ though, because that does give them another point on the board. Geo though going to be shut down thanks to Floki. So Fluxo not going to be too happy losing one of their major contenders on the team, and well, E1 thinking of wanting to fight into this as well. And I think things are going to get really messy here, AJ, unless somebody decides to bail.
Yeah, you could say that again. Nova Legion up against Fluxo. This is not the battle you want to see if you are in support of the whip. But Nova Legion with this rotation puts themselves smack dab right in action up against Fluxo. Butch is in, about to get caught out. Sabas on for the chase. Has the right gun. 16 medkits. What's he going to do with all of those?
Open a hospital at that point. Fluxo playing on that second floor. So Nova Legion going to be staying on ground level. I think the best play for Nova Legion, stay on ground level. Don't compete with Fluxo, especially on that high ground, unless you're in a position to maybe start things off with a knockdown. A knock is probably the best way for them to try and fight into such a fearsome team like Fluxo. So it's probably going to be a bit of a stalemate for a while until someone figures out what they want to do. In the meantime, though, we do have EVOS nearby on that low ground. So if a full-on fight does break out, they could be inviting an uninvited guest in the form of EVOS. And actually, Geo going to be caught thanks to Floki. And that's a pretty big one as well, because, again, that's a wasted buyback for Fluxo. And that's one of their big players out of the running. And is that another one? Another knock.
Yeah, E1 Sports, I don't know where they are right now on the map, but they just took a knock on the play on the side of Fluxo. No pickups coming through just yet. If the play does expire, this is going to be unfortunate. E1 now using the slide rails to quickly reposition just outside of TV Tower. They might decide to drop by and check out the situation as the third-party squad. And if they do, well, Fluxo might just get away with this because the distraction might be sent towards the way of Nova Legion. But either way, E1 Sports not looking like they want any piece of that action just yet. They keep an eye on RRQ instead.
Abe going to be shut down thanks to Vitin. So RRQ not going to have a smooth running for this game at all. And I wonder what the play is here for RRQ, because this is definitely one of their slower rounds. They've been very inactive up until this point. It's basically just if anyone decides to shoot into them. But we'll have to find out later on. Yeah. Oh, they lost Ma'al though. They lost Ma'al to clear vision. That's a very big knockout for the team.
Yeah, a quick recovery for sure is needed for the side of RRQ.
They're about to lose another one.
Yeah, I think we're missing out quite a bit of action here, and RRQ is happy that we're missing that action because they do not want to seem like they're getting pummeled right now. Abe out, Dudes. The pickup is perfect. 3 players still intact. And Heavy does not get to reach them, but on the landing, they do stick it with the glue wall to protect themselves, and the Vietnamese squad will try to find a better angle to engage with RRQ. Oof, a lot of pressure on the Indonesian Giants.
Yeah, that was very scary. If Heavy was able to get another down there, I think that would have been basically crippling RRQ for the rest of the game. But Heavy just unable to get that one bullet, that crucial bullet, to get that final knock. So RRQ still in the running, but Heavy are possibly going to run into clear vision here. very, very close. They're going to try and launch themselves a little bit closer towards that compound. I mean, if that happens, if they have a clear line of sight, clear vision could just shoot them as they fly in, and they do have the time turner at least. Okay, so the team is fine. They're fine for
beautiful.
now.
First the Dinoculus and then sticking the time turner on the landing. Clear vision had no chance to find the connections onto Team Heavy. Great rotation from the Vietnamese squad. Quick update here. Most revivals, Sabas with the 2 on his side. And that's good. Not too many revivals for the squad as well. But RRQ still in need to bring Ma'al back into the fray here. Fortunately, they haven't found a vending machine, but they do find Movistar R7. Bad timing for RRQ.
Ooh, and that's going to be Dutz gone as well. So RRQ back to two-man strong roster. This is going to be a really tough game for the team, unfortunately, but if they can try and figure out a way to recoup the team and get back into that circle, there is still a very possible dream for RRQ to get another Booyah today, but with Movistars around, it's going to be a really tough one. So in the meantime, as teams decide to sort of reposition themselves and get ready to find their placements in that circle, we can already see a small village of teams already occupying their own little compounds. Heavy going to be hiding under a small compound themselves under that, under the board. We have clear vision nearby, E1 and EVOS as well within that same vicinity. AG Global, I kind of feel bad for them because they are on the outskirts. If they try to make any move into that circle, once the next circle has been decided, they're going to have to fight through multiple teams to even have a chance of finding themselves a really nice spot to hide in.
And the positive thing here is for Bangladesh, Redcliffe still hanging on. Haven't bumped into any big challenges just yet, which means their rotations have been very smooth. At the same time, no eliminations on the side of Redcliffe. This is something that they have to be wary about. They do need those elimination points to climb the leaderboard overall. Just depending on the placements is just not going to suffice if you want to be in the top 12 to qualify for the grand finals. Can you imagine how phenomenal it'll be if Bangladesh has one of their squads qualify in the top 12? I think the whole nation's going to go livid.
Look, I agree. I think the entire nation would be right behind them to give them that support. They just have to figure out a way to be able to consistently get the points needed to make it into top 12 to begin with, which we can already see based on game number 3, this team is trying to adapt their playstyle to find something that works. They went hyper-aggressive, kind of worked, but they also got eliminated quite frequently in their early games. They are trying to play a little bit slow. Speaking of slow, WAG have been playing incredibly slow this round, and they're about to lose T-Kui, and he does get picked off, so all of a sudden, one of the major front runners for WAG is out of the game, and even Please One also got sniped in the back. Cyrus, the next one to follow, and I think we're about to lose WAG. Oh, man. What a painful way to go out.
Yeah, but what a beautiful play there for Nova Legion. That VSK jump shot was just lethal. Pop in the Steffi first just to make sure those nades can't touch them. Strategically approaching, flanking from both sides. And unfortunate for WAG, they just didn't have eyes on their back. Down by a man. Got overwhelmed in that situation. And now Fluxo up against EVOS. Ray and Cochil on that lower ground, cooking up that nade with Jester in hand for Cochil. Fluxo on the other hand has to be careful here. Ray, headshot, Giu down on the ground, looking for that pickup. Butches in, crosses in, takes the left-hand side flank at the very same time at the weapons arsenal. Movistar R7 taking on RRQ. Joker, very sliver of health left on him, tops himself right back up. Time turner is there, but Movistar R7 isn't going to get away that easy.
Oh no, they don't get away at all. RRQ eliminate one of the assassins from the lobby. So Movistars, they're out, but so is EVOS Divine as well. So we're now down to our top 8 teams, AJ, and some of the teams that are already gone, they are potential leaders for the lobby, and looks like we are going to be seeing another fight here as Nova Legion fly into Fluxo. Now, keep in mind, Fluxo, this team is quite spread, so if anything does happen to one of the players in Fluxo, they will not be able to reinforce each other. But the team is regrouping, and Nova Legion Can they find a way to sneak through the defenses there of Fluxo? Bops is not feeling too confident himself, but Kuslow's going to be slapped thanks to Blitzen, so that might be the opening for Fluxo to finish things off if Nova Legion can't find anywhere to hide.
Yes, smooth one by MT7 with the Riptide Rhythm, just breaking down their defenses. But Nova Legion making sure they quickly sneak away. Not going to be put under pressure just yet, but they do share a compound still. A little bit outside from the next zone. They do have some time before the circle catches up with them. This is not going to be a fun encounter outside the zone. This is going to hurt. And AG Global's making that rotation. There is a high probability they do bump into either Fluxo or Nova Legion, or maybe even both as the third party here, as Nova Legion overtakes the rest to become the elimination leaders.
10 eliminations under their belt. This team is going absolutely ham. If nobody can stop them, they will potentially just be the ones to take the entire lobby. MT7 going to try and get one out of there. Geo, though, has been hitting the ground. Kuslow's been caught, though. Maybe this team has got a little bit too ham here. Nova Legion down to 2 players. It's Sebast and Floki to hold the flag strong here for the team, but they do get rid of one of their major opponents. Fluxo is out, but they still need to deal with another team. E1 fighting up against AG, and Vitzen is still on that ground. I don't know. I'm not feeling too good here for E1. They have to figure out a way to either beat through AG Global or just get on out of there. But it's so difficult because you have Nova Legion on the other side of E1 and poor Lion fighting for his life, trying to hide behind that singular glue wall.
Yeah, Nova Legion is about to get yet another point for themselves here. E1 way too low, and as anticipated, Sebastian is finding with the M590. 16 eliminations already. Nova Legion on a tear. Unbelievable performance out of the LATAM squad in the previous match, continuing to stomp everyone in this game 3 as well. AG Global up on top of the roof, Heavy right down below them, and Redcliffe still alive. When are they going to start picking up points? The time is right. They have to move.
They got to move, but they only have so little room to work with. And it's kind of funny too, because you have 2 players occupying a single household. Heavy on the ground floor, AG on the rooftop. Nova Legion, though, will be finally picked up, unfortunately. The damage from earlier on was just much too much for the team to deal with. But with our top 5 teams in our next circle having already been decided, it's now going to be time for these teams to move, especially if they're trying to occupy some of this natural cover. And I mean, Clear Vision, I love their positioning so far. They are so far from the rest of the teams. As soon as anybody makes a move, they are in the perfect spot to come in and shoot them down.
Yeah, but Redcliffe just needs to think this one through. Moving first will just make them into a sitting duck. They will get shot at. They need to bide their time and play this absolutely well. Wait for AG Global as well as Heavy to start moving in first. Clear Vision, on the other hand, being pressured by the players of RRQ. Abay with a fantastic nade onto Dowley. Takes him down, but the pickup is going to be attempted here by the players on the side of Clear Vision. Probay, a sliver of health left on him. Bay needs to top his health right back up. M590, first one does not find the connection, but Time Turner, Riptide Rhythm breaking down their defenses as well. Perfect one from Clear Vision. Esma is taken down. Ekal with a sliver of health. Trogon could not save him. And what a fight by Clear Vision. But Redcliffe from the back takes advantage. Just could not secure the elimination. Does get the double knock, but Heavy now stabbing Redcliffe in the back. The placement points are there for the Bangladeshi squad. Riptide Rhythm courtesy of Fahim. How is that going to help out the squad? As the rest of the Redcliffe players stand back, not wanting to engage just yet.
And Heavy, out of all the teams there, is the healthiest team as well. Oh boy, Clear Vision, they're going to have to start moving as well. Now going to try and rush in and pick off Heavy. This is the best case scenario for the team. If they try to wait, I feel like they're just going to be running into a team that's absolutely fed. So Clear Vision going to play aggressive. Heavy looking to stand back a little bit, and looks like Sharon thinking of maybe trying to fight into AG Global. We still have Du and Chinoy trying to hide within that compound. The question is, who's going to be the one to make that first move? Yunez still scouting things out for the team. Chinoy and Du still holding down the fort, and Heavy not wanting to make a move themselves. Who is it that's going to start? It might have to be the circle to decide who goes down first. And Chinoy first shot, and Du as well. Both elims going to Heavy. And now all of a sudden it's going to be a 4 versus 4 AJ between Clear Vision and Heavy.
Can Clear Vision finally make this recovery, make this comeback? In the first two games, they were absolutely nothing, only scoring an average of 0.5 points across the two maps. But now on fire with the eliminations. Heavy now has split up into two sides. This is the opportunity for Clear Vision. They need to take advantage though. They flank on towards the right-hand side to meet Alan and Kabi first. Propay with the push. M590 in hand. Alan turns around. Sharin for the knock, but Mufasa finds him first. A big mistake by Clear Vision. Here comes the Glue UAV as well, just to barricade themselves a little bit more. Younes drops by. Don't Cry joins him and just rushes straight in for the knock from the back. And Heavy is cleaning house, absolutely clapping the players of Clear Vision.
Heavy were just far too much for Clear Vision to deal with, and all based off the fact that their movements were perfect for that initial rotation.
Yeah.
We saw both teams going counterclockwise, and originally I thought Clear Vision were going to be the ones to be able to take the round. But I think the first mistake was leaving Sharon behind. Sharon really lagged behind the team, and we already saw as well Heavy. They were also making their own rotations. And so we saw the two players on Heavy take down Sharon. On the other side of Clear Vision, they did not get an initial elimination for their first rush. And from that point on, everything absolutely collapsed, because I think Younes was the next one to go down for Clear Vision. Was out in the open, had no glue walls. I guess they didn't have any glue walls on them as well. So really just a sitting duck, praying that any of the existing glue walls was going to be there to provide the cover. But Heavy, I think they just did the better decisions in that late game. The fact that they waited and they let Clear Vision dictate the path of the fight, Heavy's reactions were on point.
And Heavy proving that Solara is not their weak map. Yesterday was just a one-off. Heavy walked away with just 1 point on Solara yesterday, but today, of course, it's a different story altogether. Just from the placements alone, they sneak away 12. Eliminations-wise, though, they were not the best squad out there, but all thanks to the final engagement, they had 4 extra points to pick up, so it was a very decent round overall for the Vietnamese squad, and Heavy continues to impress. Heavy might just be that team that guarantees themselves a top 12 spot just by the end of this day itself.
Well, Heavy's done really well today, I believe. They'd had no bottom finishes. They've been rather consistent. Yeah, maybe they're not consistently at the top of the leaderboard, but sometimes it's not about always being at the top. As long as you're towards the middle of the pack, you're getting those points consistently. When you do eventually get those big points in a couple of those rounds, that's just going to be enough to keep you within the top echelon of the leaderboard. So Heavy, I love that they are playing very quietly. Like, they are still a top contender within the competition, but they're not shining too much of a spotlight on themselves. Like, yes, this was the time for them to take that Booyah, and they did it in the best way possible. So Heavy, got to watch out for this team. You got to respect them. You don't ignore them. This is a team that can come out of the woodworks and surprise you if you underestimate them.
Absolutely, and I think they were following the plan fairly well, right? Don't get into trouble very early on in the game. Just make sure you're well looted up so that when you do need to get into some heavy engagements, you've got the resources to carry you through some dragged out battles. And that's exactly what this Solara final battle was. It was just a lot of rotations involved in there. Without those glue walls barricading their backs, they wouldn't have even been able to engage with the players of Redcliffe initially out in the open. And it's just those small elements that make the biggest of difference. Unfortunately for Heavy, though, they don't get as many eliminations as the squad called Nova Legion, representing LATAM. 16 eliminations, just 5 placement points, but gets them the total of 21. Clear Vision right behind them with the exact same number of 21 points, all thanks to, once again, the elimination. Clear Vision from MEA, Nova Legion from LATAM absolutely conquered this Solara map this time around. Heavy did manage to get the Booyah, but of course, truly outshined by the other two regions. RRQ Kazu kind of keeping up with the rest of the teams in terms of points for the time being. So we've got a lot of hope for them, but I have to say, I am most impressed by the survivability of Redcliffe. What could have made this a little better for them was a few eliminations, which they almost got, but the follow-up was just not as clean as I expected to be.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, situationally, it was just a really tough place to be in because there was so much distance between all the teams as well. Like, you're kind of hoping to get that miracle headshot to grab some of those elims. But Very top-heavy round here in terms of eliminations. Unfortunately for our bottom teams, they weren't able to grab those extra points because it had been hogged by most of our teams that did very well today. But we have finished 3 games already, ladies and gentlemen. So we are done and dusted with Bermuda, Kalahari, and Solara. We're getting ready for Purgatory, but we are at the halfway point. All the teams, they have already gone up that mountain. It's all downhill from here, but this downhill is a very dangerous one, because if you are not happy with your current placement on the leaderboard, you can't afford to mess around with these next 3 games, because if you have, we've said this in the past, if you have a terrible play day, sometimes that play day is going to come and bite you in the butt, because sometimes if you just didn't get enough points on one day, you're out. Your fate in the competition is decided by your opponent's performance.
Yeah. No doubt at all. And of course, and just like that, we are halfway through this match day already. Unbelievably quick the matches today have been. And I have to say, teams down at the bottom, WAG, Hotshot Esports, they really have to start looking within and asking some big questions now. Even Redcliffe seems to be doing better than them just with those placement points and their plays. Obviously, surviving a little bit longer is great for Redcliffe, but as you can see, just 3 eliminations from 3 games. They've got an average of 1 elimination per map, which obviously is not going to cut it. Let's take a look at the active skill combinations here as well. We've got the Coda Nero Oscar Chrono combo coming out through from the side of Heavy, and this has really given them a great balance once again. They're really focusing on the aggressive part as well as the defense and information. You've got that Oscar, you've got that Chrono, so even if you go rushing on out, you're not going to get snuffed out that easy.
Yeah, no, I feel like not just that, I also have to bring out the loadouts. Same loadout that we've seen all day today, unfortunately. Still waiting to see a little bit of variety. But I feel like that, as you mentioned, right, the balance has been determined by not just Heavy, but I think every team that has played today. Like they've found their footing, they've found something that has really worked for them, and we're starting to see the fruits of all of these teams' labors, getting ready for the tournament, having practiced with their characters, their loadouts, the choice of abilities for every single round as well. Especially on the world stage, you can't just play one build. You have to customize it for the teams in your lobby, and also the playstyle that you want to bring into the games as well.
Yeah.
Our MVP for the round, though, ladies and gentlemen, it's Alan. 3 eliminations, 3,219 damage, and 4 assists. Has Alan been our highest damage MVP today? I feel like he may be.
He may be, but 3,000 definitely impressive for Heavy. The numbers in terms of the eliminations could be a little bit higher, but I'm going to accept this because this is coming out of Vietnam, and I'm very sure they're very nervous overall. There's a lot of expectations because it's the region with the most number of players in this global finals, and they need to prove themselves. And WAG is just not getting the job done. Heavy has managed to pick up that responsibility and represent the region in a massive way. So you got to respect what Alan and squad is doing out there at the moment. Let's take a look at the highlights once again, Danny, and see exactly what ran in that matchup.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it wasn't really Heavy that was the star of the show in that last round, right? It was Nova Legion. We saw lots of Nova Legion. We also saw a lot of Movistar, R7 as well when they were still around. Fluxo was also a pretty big Heavy hitter too. But this is the final moment, right? Like this was where you saw Heavy, very patient. I love seeing the team, like they could have run in and tried to join into this fight here, but they decided we're going to play it safe, we're going to play it slow, we get rid of the other target, and we let Clear Vision run into us. We react, and the reaction was perfect. So I think Heavy, I think this was just a great way for them to secure that Booyah and really establish their position in our groupings for today, because I think a lot of people are still kind of giving this team a bit of a side eye.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we need in terms of the hustle out of these squads. And they're obviously doing their best. It's the global stage, and it's not going to be easy for sure. There are some teams who usually do well, who are finding a fair bit of struggle out there to maintain that consistency. And even if you look at Fluxo, getting to their top performance sort of ways with massive number of eliminations just isn't as easy as it used to be in the past. But of course, we've got our RRQ coming up for us with an interview in a little bit. But of course, we'll bring them to you guys in But when we do come back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's going to be after a break. And of course, more of this action will continue. Danny and I will catch up with you in a bit.
All right, thank you, Caster. Survivors, we are now halfway through the matches, and right now, before we continue on, I am here with Dudes from RRQ Kazu to have a bit of a conversation. So how's it going, Dudes? Apa kabar? Hari ini gimana rasanya?
Rasanya ya belum tahu sih, kayak masih kurang aja sih.
Masih kurang. But feeling okay overall?
Yeah, okay.
Quite okay. Okay, so right now, RRQ Kazu is sitting on number 3 on overall standings with 43 points. How do you feel about your team form so far? Kalau ngelihat sekarang RRQ Kazu ada di peringkat ketiga dengan total 43 poin. Gimana nih kamu ngelihat form dari Kazu sendiri sejauh ini?
Ya lumayan bagus lah. Cuma kita di sisa match masih bisa lebih bagus lah dari ini.
Okay, so he thinks that they're doing pretty good right now. He's not yet satisfied with the results that they have after the third game, but they will surely be doing more and better on the next 3 games that is left today. Speaking of the left games, can we talk about RRQ is also known in Seafall to perform very well in early games, but then slow down later on. How will the team prevent this from happening again in Global Finals? Kalau kita bicara mengenai RRQ Kazu sendiri kan seringkali kalian tuh gaspol dan kenceng banget di awal-awal pertandingan, di awal-awal turnamen, tapi kemudian slowing down atau temponya menurun di kemudian hari. Apa yang sudah mungkin kalian upayakan untuk bisa mencegah terjadinya hal ini lagi di Global Finals?
Ya lebih konsisten aja sih, jadi kayak belajar jaga tempo aja.
They're going to be more consistent. They're trying to keep up with the tempo and of course try to communicate better with the rest of the teammates. Last question, do you think you can get more Booyahs today seeing that Vietnam successfully secured 3 Booyahs yesterday on the first day of the knockout stage? Apakah kamu merasa RRQ Kazu bisa mengamankan Booyah lagi mengingat kemarin Vietnam total ada 3 Booyah yang sudah diamankan sebagai perwakilan dari Asia Tenggara?
Ya kalau Booyah sih ngalir aja sih. Kayaknya masih bisa sih. Soalnya dari tadi cuma kesalahan-kesalahan kecil doang.
He thinks that he can still get it. He thinks that RRQ can still secure more Booyah, seeing that the mistakes that they have were like small mistakes, and surely they can work on it on the last 3 games that we have today. All right, thank you so much, dudes. Good luck with the rest of the game. But now, let's go back to the highlight and see the actions for a bit.
Our co-streamers are here. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, we have met so many times, right? Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Of course, my name is Jotin. I'm straight from Brazil.
Hello, guys. I'm Kabo from Bangladesh, and you can call me It's Kabo.
So special that we have our 2 guests here from Brazil and Bangladesh. Such a long way from here, right? All right, then. So, how does it feel for you guys to be able to be here for the stage at FFWS Global Finals 2025?
It is such an honor to be here. Like, I feel privileged to be selected among a lot of streamers and to be cheering for all the Brazilian teams. So, big expectation. So, feels great.
Yeah.
What about you, Kabo?
This is the first time I'm coming to an international event, and it feels awesome, especially all the hosts here. They're very welcoming, and Bangladeshi people would love this opportunity a lot to cheer for their team while watching the live stream from the stage directly from Jakarta.
Really agree with Kabu because this is the first time we can see a Bangladesh team in our FFWS stage, right? So it's a very special thing. Again, thank you for coming, and we would love to have you guys here. All right then, so how do you feel about the team so far? So from Brazil, we have Fluxo, Team Solid, E1, and Bangladesh, we have Red Hawks and RC.
Well, I feel amazing. I mean, we are the actual champions, right? Fluxo is doing a good job here. We have E1 playing really well. Team Solid, all the Brazilian teams are playing regularly, which is very good for the competition, which is, in my vision, the most important thing. But I really believe that this first stage, the first days are gonna be a little bit nervous. However, we're gonna go through and doing our job, what we came for.
Yeah, so for me or for us, I think this is one of hell opportunity, and we're trying. Our boys are trying. Sometimes the results are good, sometimes the results are not as expected, but they are trying, and they have brought Bangladesh to the world stage, and that's what matters the most.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And I'm kind of curious about this. So the Free Fire esports scene in you guys' own respective regions. So what about the hype that everyone is giving for Free Fire series right now? Because I think Brazil and Bangladesh are really hyped for this.
Oh yeah, it's the most expected moment of the year, right? Everybody train a lot, give their best, like through the whole year, the whole calendar to be here in Jakarta. And like I say, it's an honor to everybody, but the fight, I mean, it's just beginning, like can I say, because the process is like really, really hard. We're gonna have only 12 teams playing for the finals and only 8 teams play for the counter squad, the clash squad. But I really believe that this is expectation time is the thing that people are like really waiting for in Brazil.
And when it's for Bangladesh, this time 2 slots are given to Bangladesh, and people are really hyped. Yesterday, unexpected happened, the total watching viewership that was like way above the average, and everybody was going crazy for the teams. They were going crazy looking for the gameplays. And I think within a few years, esports scenario in Bangladesh, it will be totally changed. The aura of esports, it will be revealed properly, totally in Bangladesh.
Lovely to hear that. I think so many new things are coming to our FFWS season this year, and I hope that our next year will be a brighter one. So, is there any thoughts you want to send to the viewers in your region?
Well, I just want to say that to be ready because the show is just beginning. Like, I hope the Brazil can go through the whole 3 teams because this is what I'm cheering for. But I'm actually so happy to be here to see all these young players and good players and veteran players together and see the harmony of the show, which is, for me, the most spectacular thing that I've ever seen in a scenario of esports.
Can I say this in Bangla for the audience, for the Bangladeshi people? So guys, আমি তোমাদেরকে বলেছিলাম যে esports scenario এবং everything in the community সবকিছু বদলাবে। From 2021 to 2025 আমরা 4 বছর অপেক্ষা করেছিলাম এই মোমেন্টগুলো দেখার জন্য, and finally we are here in the world stage. আমি জাস্ট তোমাদেরকে এটাই বলবো, be ready, be supportive, and let's dominate and let's show the world what we Bangladeshi people can do. Thank you very much.
I think this is very emotional for the Bangladesh region because this is the comeback is real, right? So I'm Yunso and wishing the best for our Brazil and the Bangladesh friends here, and also to every regions right here at the FFWS. Thank you so much, 2 of you. And now
thank you.
Let's going back to our interview.